Straight ahead, we tackle some of social media's hottest topics at the table. Plus, a viral social media trend has people reminding loved ones why they're special. And some of the DMV's smallest Girl Scouts are proving they are more than just cookies. And we'll wrap things up with the best things I saw this week. It's time to get uplifted. So we're starting something new here on Get Uplifted, and it begins the way that many great things begin, right? With good company and good conversation. Every woman has a story and every woman has a perspective, and some of the most important conversations never happen on television. They happen at our kitchen tabletops, our group chats, our salons, our church parking lots. So right now we're bringing that conversation into light, and we're going to call it At the Table, a space for honest conversation shaping our lives, our families, and our communities. Real women talking about real topics that are typically in the news. So pull up a chair because I have saved you a seat. Welcome to the table. This is where we say out loud what we have been sharing with each other in private. And I'm joined by three women that you may think you know. Girl mom of a golf pro in the making, fluent in 2 languages, and WUSA 9 news anchor Annie Yu. Hey, Annie. Hi. All righty. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Also, world traveler, coffee lover, aunt extraordinaire, and WUSA 9 traffic anchor Teri Hornstein. Woo-hoo. Thanks for being at our table. We appreciate you. And baker, fashionista, fellow world traveler, and mom of Dylan, who we love so much, representing the boys here of the moms on the table. This is meteorologist, WUSA 9 meteorologist Miri Marshall, of course. Ladies, welcome. So there are 3 rules at the table, so let's just get the ground rules out. We speak from experience, we listen all the way through, and nobody leaves empty-handed. Every conversation ends with a takeaway that you can use at your own table. So let's get into some topics that we have been talking about. Well, you may have seen this all over your feed. A man and a woman show up for dinner at an upscale restaurant in Beverly Hills, right? So his sleeveless shirt violates the dress code. See, hers is just fine. So they step outside, they swap shirts. She walks in wearing his tank top. He walks in wearing her blouse. They get seated. Millions of views later, the whole internet is arguing about dress codes, double standards, and who gets policed for what they wear. So I'm going to hit everybody with first reaction from the restaurant here. Genius of this couple or petty from the restaurant? What's your first thought looking at that video?
I think it's a little bit of both, right?
Yeah.
It's genius and good for them. They have a sense of humor because my man would never do that. He'd be like, well, it looks like we're going somewhere else.
Right.
I think it was genius on the couple's part, but you know, I think at this time that we're in, dress codes, come on.
Right.
We are, if it's an upscale, Michelin, whatever, a fancy restaurant, I get it. But I have I went to a restaurant at a mall. And it was 2:00 in the afternoon. They said, "Oh man, we have a no hat policy."
Yeah.
And I'm looking around like, I've been here before.
Right.
I'm out shopping right next door in these shopping stores.
Right.
I'm just trying
I'm
to
at
grab
the
some
Express,
lunch.
right? Yeah.
And so he stood by what he said. He said no
Yeah.
hat. So I said, okay, I respect that. So I took my money and appetite somewhere else.
Right.
Do I think there should be dress codes at restaurants? I wouldn't if I was a restaurant owner, unless it's an upscale, restaurant. But I think it's a little bit of both, the genius on the couple's part and a little petty from the restaurant. And what's the point? Like, she was sleeveless. Right?
Right.
That's the dress code.
Yes.
The man can't be sleeveless.
Exactly. Which is weird. It's typically the other
very
way around.
lopsided.
Right. So Teri, let me ask you, women all the way back, honestly, I can remember like in junior high school with my girls, it was a strict policy and you couldn't do this and that. And women seem to have always been policed with this, but now this man he can't wear his arms out. I mean, is this justice at this point, or what did you think about it?
I love what they did here, this couple, but I have a different opinion. I think it's a private business. They can do what they want. If they want to have a dress code, if that's what makes sense for them, if they expect people to look a certain way when they go inside, I mean, I don't think it's a big problem, right?
Yeah.
You should just abide by that dress code, or like what you did, go somewhere else. And if you don't like it, you can go eat somewhere else. I feel like if it was my establishment and I wanted people to look a certain way,
Then
I
you'd set the
would
rules down.
set the rules.
Okay.
It's my restaurant.
Mary, are you staying or are you leaving?
I would stay.
Okay.
I do
But
like
Miri, you are very, my girl follows the rules and is always on point.
Let me just say this. I think that we need a level of decorum, right? And it's not that the guy's shirt was ugly or awful. And no offense, fellas, but not all of our fellas shave their under armpits. And so when I'm trying to
Oh, I wonder if that's why.
well, it's a point. When I'm trying to munch
Yeah.
into my salad or my caviar, you know, I don't
Wow.
want to see the jungle under the armpit.
Okay.
And I'm not trying
That's
to be
so-
like.
I
I'm
didn't even
saying,
think about
yeah,
that.
So
Right.
you know, they're trying to set a tone for the aesthetic of the restaurant,
Yeah.
and it's not a problem if guys don't want to shave under your arm. That's perfectly okay. I don't want to see it when I'm trying to dive into my
But
pasta
here,
or salad.
plot twist, not all women shave under. I mean, are we talking
equally
about these
don't wanna
gender
see that.
norms?
I
you
equally
ain't
don't
don't
wanna
want to see
see
it,
that.
period. Gotcha, that's
This
fair.
restaurant was in
Yeah.
Beverly Hills,
Right,
So
right,
it is an
right.
upscale
Right.
restaurant. So yes, to that dress code, totally understand. It's a high-end restaurant. It's in Beverly Hills.
Right.
Right.
Okay. All right. Ready to move on to another
Yes.
topic?
Let's do it.
Okay. According to a new Realtor.com report, more than 25 million adults under the age of 35 were living with their parents last year. That's a record. That's 1 in 3. Here's the part that breaks the stereotype. About 70% of them are working. They're employed. They have jobs. The math just doesn't work because the national median home price is around $430,000. That's up more than a third since 2019. Around here, you know, it's more. Often it is much more. The National Association of Realtors says the typical first-time home buyer is now 40 years old. So what about the empty nest? It seems to be on hold for a lot of people. Ladies, is this a crisis or is this just the new norm? You know what? Let me weigh in at first. For me, with my girls, there would be no age limit if they needed to come home, but there would be, I would put some restrictions in place, and I think it would make them feel better if they helped with the household as far as money goes and all of that. And then I would love to have them home. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with my daughter fast forward to her working. The deal is you have to have a full-time job or be a full-time student.
Right.
And if you just need to save money, by all means, stay with us. We all need some help. But I just want her to have a goal in mind. Like, you can't just stay at the house without a long-term goal. So if we're saving for a home, please come back, but you have to be either, going to school full-time or working toward a goal.
Well, obviously, my baby's always welcome at
Yeah.
home. However, I will say after college, I couldn't find a job for a while, so I went home and stayed back with my mom. And after, 6 months, a year, she was like, okay. And she did help,
Yeah.
with getting me out. But out I had to go. When I moved to Los Angeles, I went to live with relatives, and they told me before I even arrived, you've got 3 months.
Right.
After 3 months, you need to find your own place. So absolutely, times are different. Things are more expensive now, so you do want to always be that safety net. And as my dad always said, a child is a responsibility for the rest of your life. Not until they're 18, not until they buy their own house, for the rest of your life. So it kind of comes with the territory.
Okay. Now, Teri, I know I started by saying aunt extraordinary. So I know that your nephews could always come and live with you, right?
Oh yeah, all 4 of them. Come on in. But I did this in my early 30s. I was transitioning in between jobs. I was moving back home to Miami. I was looking for a place. It was difficult to find one. And I moved home and I ended up staying way longer than I should have. But it gave me the opportunity to save a lot of money. And I think this is setting up children who it's harder, or young adults who really these days it's a lot harder for to be able to afford a home. It's setting them up for success because you're letting them save some of that money and letting them get ready to be able to buy a house or make this next step in their life that they want to. So, I mean, for me, my family's always been super welcoming. I know as a mom, I would be super welcoming. I'm welcoming to my 4 nephews. They can come live with me. I want my family to have success in whatever that looks like.
Let me ask you this question. Do you have a curfew now?
Right. So I will tell you, I'm really lucky. I'm really close to my parents. But they're also good about boundaries. So I never had a curfew in my early 30s.
Just the rules of the house. Now
there
you're
were
all
none.
okay.
Truly, there were none. It was more of a, you're welcome here. We make dinner if you want to eat it. If you don't want to eat it, obviously it would help out around the house. I wasn't going to be this bum, but I was working the whole time I was there, and it felt like home. And I know for my parents who were empty nesters, this was kind of nice for them.
Aw, and I think that, let me say this, not to be a Debbie Downer here, but there comes a time when your parents transition, and all I will say is if I could have one more day with them that way, I would have taken it for sure. I was in such a rush to move out at all cost, right? So anyway, next up, we tackle a controversial back to school discussion, and then later, a social media trend that's causing on-camera hugs and maybe a few tears. Stay with us. Let's get into this last topic, ladies. Montgomery County Public Schools officially now have banned phones during the school day for all students, all the way up until seniors in high school. And this comes after Maryland voted that school systems throughout the state must substantially restrict phone usage. Two camps here, as I see it: lock them up at the door versus teach them responsible use. Oh man, like the thought of having a cell phone, for me, I love that we're all different age groups too, because we didn't have this problem at all.
We sure didn't.
But it is a real issue right now. Kids are on their phones. Annie, I'll start with you. What do you think about kids of all grades in Montgomery County Public Schools not using the phones?
Well, this is obviously a complex issue,
Yes.
and there is no right or wrong answer. You can't please everybody because you have such conflicting, it's a fierce debate. But I'll say, as a mom, we waited purposely until Ava became 13 years old because we believe in responsible use. So teaching the child what a phone is for, how to use it responsibly, and the repercussions of it if you misuse it inappropriately or if you take video that you shouldn't be taking video of. So we started there. At 13, here is your phone, and we went over the rules and what we think she should be doing with this phone. And every night till this day, that phone still gets charged right next to my husband's side of the table. He is constantly checking her history, her text messages, and he doesn't tell her he's doing it. He's just doing it, and that's part of it. Parental engagement. You have to be locked in. Sorry, if you're a parent, you have to be locked in.
Right.
We all are working jobs, we're going to school, we've got multiple kids, we're all busy, but when it comes to your child, we are not playing around, especially in these times when they have so many factors. So as far as school goes, I've talked to my kid about this all the time. How do you feel about the cell phone ban? Because it's nothing new, the other counties are doing it. She doesn't love it, but she says, I think it's a good thing because there's too many distractions at school. Too many distractions. The phone adds another layer, another concern about, am I being recorded? Am I going to be taking a photo?
Am I being bullied?
Am
Also,
I being
there's
bullied?
some,
Right.
it can be a weapon as well.
But here's one thing that is clear from a 13-year-old child, mine. She says, I don't mind it. I actually think it's a good idea to have it away, bell to bell. But I would like to have control and possession of my phone. So I don't want to put it in a yonder pouch at the beginning of the school day and then go have to look for it because, Mommy, I want connection to you. If I need it in case of an emergency, I want to be able to pull it out of my backpack, turn it on, and call you.
And that's, let me ask you the same question. Your son needs to get in touch with you right away for whatever reason. Should he have access to his phone?
He's 10, so he can just wait. He can wait right now. I'm with you, Annie. I'm glad you shared that, waiting till 13, because I'm trying to figure out, okay, he's been asking, and I'm like, no, no, and no. I will say this, did we have phones in high school? Probably dating myself,
I surely did not,
really.
yes.
But times are different, and there are emergencies that certain schools are dealing with. In fact, every school, it's a risk that I did not deal with as a kid. When I grew up, we didn't have school shootings. So with that in mind, if something happens, I want to be able to call my kid and make sure he's okay and tell him, hey, hide, or something like that.
Or if he's playing sports
Right.
after school, pick up.
So some people have said teach them responsibility. Hey, the schools are teaching enough, right? They're trying to get you through algebra, trying to get you through trigonometry, reading, make sure you got a good ACT score. Teaching the responsibility falls on the parent, like Annie's doing. That's the parent's job, okay? The school teaches you education, the parents teach responsibility. That is their job. So they're going to have to teach that. I would not have mind seeing them maybe be able to use it at lunch, but it is so restrictive. And what people don't talk about is how addictive it is to have that phone, that constant scrolling, the social media. It literally engages the dopamine in your brain.
Yes.
So it's hard to fight to say put it away when you have that dopamine rush.
I was speaking with a doctor who said that the founders of this whole phenomenon that we're in now, I don't want to label anything, but they purposely did not let their kids have phones until a certain point because they knew how addictive it was to do that. But on the other note too, when the girls were, my girls now 25, 24, 21, they were so active. I needed them to have a phone to be able to get in touch, but it was after school. And Teri, you have a really interesting take on this as well, which I think is sort of, I guess, a mix of everybody, but a little different.
I see how awful the cyberbullying is. I think kids are on their phones way too much. But at the same time, I feel, once you're 16, 17, 18 years old and you're taking these phones away from these students, you're basically saying, I'm treating you like a child, but you're asking the student to act like an adult. So how are we asking these students to act like adults, but then we're not trusting them to do the right thing, right? Like you're not, the two aren't matching. You want these children or young adults to act like adults, but then you're treating them like children. So I think it's like what you said, Annie, about, and really everyone said, just about responsible use really in general and what you should teach your child. But I don't necessarily think taking the phones is the solution.
I think
to
a
it.
lot of what started also these policies is the fact that students were using them to communicate about fights and recording fights in schools, right? And then you would see that video go viral. That was a legit concern from school leaders. And so that was something that fueled the policies. And look, if you are going to have this policy, enforce it. Enforce the policy too, because, kids, they're going to figure out a way to use that phone. But again, it goes back to the parental engagement of responsible use. Here's the policy. You can't use it bell to bell, not even during lunch. And if you misuse that or, abuse that, it's going to be taken away.
Right. I think that's better.
The school needs to also enforce that policy as well to say, I'm serious about this.
And you're giving trust to the student, saying, I trust you to have this phone, but if you do this, it's going to be taken from you. So you're setting a boundary for the students. I just feel like you give them back a little bit of their autonomy. And if they need to reach their parents, if there is an emergency, they're still able to do that.
Right.
I think taking it at the beginning of the day and then taking it back or giving it back is just, I don't know, I feel like it would rub and is rubbing a lot of the students the wrong way, especially those older
policing
They just
almost,
want
yeah.
to have that
Right.
responsibility and instant access in case something happens. And, we're constantly, our heads are on a swivel. School safety is a major concern in our country. And so I think she just likes to have that assurance. I can reach into my pocket and call my mom if I need to.
And I will say, when I was in college and I had a phone, I was feeling really sick. I needed to go to the hospital. I ended up having surgery. I was in a class and I was texting my mom to come pick me up because I couldn't drive myself. And the teacher, kind of yelled at me when I was in school. And I explained to her after I got back and all that what had happened. But just being able to have the phone, to have that person come to get me. I didn't want to disrupt the whole class. I wanted my mother to come get me so she could take me to the hospital.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The only thing I will say is that, not cutting you off, giving them the autonomy, and I know what it's like. 16, I remember one time my mom banned me from using the phone for a week. I think I did something disobeyed. I literally lost my mind. Called my dad, she's taking the phone, oh my God. So I know what that's like, but think about this. You're in class. The phone's supposed to be on silent, but somebody's phone goes off on their school bag.
Right.
Now, instead of listening to your history lesson, you're like, wait, who's texting? Wait, what happened? It's just, it can be
Or
a
for the
distraction.
teacher's perspective.
Yeah.
For the instructors,
So
I
I do wish that there was some common ground. I'm generally not a type of person who believes in banning everything. I don't think banning is the solution for everything, but it really is a force to be reckoned with. Now, Teri, from what you told me, you were a good teenager. So you were able to withstand the temptation to do, wrong things and to do the right thing. But it's so tempting when you like, ooh, who's texting? Ooh,
Well, I
who's
think
And that's no
calling?
different than us passing a note around class like
Right.
we used to.
Yeah.
There's going to be distractions around you, but I think the phone, it can be used for nefarious reasons, and it's forever. We live in a social media time. These kids were recording inappropriate things that they shouldn't be doing. And I think that was a big chunk of why this discussion even took place.
But it's also inside and out of school that's happening, right?
Yeah.
So like
They were
it goes back to what you
organizing
said.
fights.
It's teaching your child how to responsibly use a phone and what to use it for and what not to use it for, right? Because all of that stuff is happening outside of school too, especially the cyberbullying. That's happening at home when you can't get away from it. So I think a lot of it comes back to just teaching your child right from wrong and how to use their phone responsibly.
I met a young lady who just graduated from the Richard Wright schools in Southwest DC, and I said, "What are you doing on social media?" She said, "You know what? I don't have social media. It's too negative. I just stay away from it." She's got a full ride to Coppin State. I'm like, you go, girl. There are young people out there who are not tethered to their phone. But in Montgomery County Public Schools, you're not going to have that phone, whoever you are, and whatever we think at this table for this school year. So that was a really great topic. Thank you, guys. And look, as we end our table talk here, we're going to end it the same way that we first started it. But let's go with a takeaway before we say goodbye to our panel this week. So, Miri, I'll start with you. What are you taking away? I think that humans need humans, period. But having girlfriends, that's something special too. So, what are you going to take away from this table talk today?
Just think before you dress. You're going out somewhere. Where am I going? Is it a smoothie or caviar?
What's the dress code?
Appropriate for
Yes.
this? Just being appropriate.
We don't want to see the jungle.
We don't want to see it.
We don't want this at the table, right? I got you.
So,
Okay.
it's okay to cover it up sometimes.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's my takeaway. Cover it up.
Okay, Annie.
Cover it up.
Annie, how about
That's
you?
hilarious. Yeah, I think I'm taking away the fact that, three friends, three girlfriends, and the fact that, we have different thoughts and opinions on certain things that might be a triggering topic, but I love that we can come to a table and talk about it and learn. I've learned so much about all of you today, and I've known you for over 20 years now, but I'm still learning. And so, I'm happy to be here with Teri and Miri and learn more about you guys, and the fact that we can come together and really hash out some of these topics and learn, how we all feel about it respectfully.
The pride of Miami.
Can everyone in Miami call me that? That'd be fantastic. And here in the DMV. I would take away kind of similar to what you said. I think that in a world where people can be so nasty on the internet these days, it's nice to come together and you still have different opinions, but you're able to talk about them in a respectful way and see other viewpoints that might be a lot different or different than yours without the nastiness.
Yeah.
Without user
Amen
1,
to
2,
that.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 telling you.
Right. I hate what you have on. Schools and schools. Right. Anyway, thank you all so much. Join me again.
Love you.
Okay, good. So, therefore, mission accomplished. We did exactly what we came to do. Bring what you heard to your table. More to come when we come right back. It's a social media trend making a whole lot of people cry, but it's the good tears I'm talking about. The trend is called My Favorite Person, and the formula is simple.
My favorite person ever. She is 5 years old and her name is Haven Flores.
Some receive it with wide-eyed wonder.
He's my best friend.
Others shyly cover their eyes before the tears begin to flow.
She is my best friend ever.
My favorite thing in the entire world.
Marty the dachshund, he yawned.
And he has the cutest little ears.
But Scooby's antenna ears perked up.
Anime.
The message being transmitted across social media is the simplest one. Love.
Thank you.
People of all ages telling loved ones what they already knew.
They are the kindest, most caring.
But it does wonders to hear it again out loud.
She inspires me every day to be a better person. I am so lucky to be her mom. She is my favorite.
It's a sweet reminder that telling our loved ones how we feel never gets old. When I say Girl Scouts, I will bet that most of us immediately think about our favorite cookie. But let's take a look at some little scouts learning big life lessons beyond those yummy treats.
We're gonna put it on your left hand like this.
If you ask this group of Daisy and Brownie Girl Scouts what their favorite part of scouting is, a recent activity is top of mind.
Going camping and how we help each other. Camping. I like to go camping and make s'mores.
These little ones, mostly just 6 and 7 years old, have some big memories from their overnight adventure.
I got 2 s'mores and a cat on fire. I slept in a sleeping bag with a blanket. We read books and we went on hikes. We had marshmallows on sticks, then we started roasting them.
This is Daisy Troop 22046 out of Prince George's County. They're led by Christina Richards, who says for her, it's about the experiences you might not get in a traditional classroom.
Being able to give them the environment and the support to flourish in life beyond just academics.
In their short tenure, the girls have not only gone camping, they've also sold cookies, volunteered, and have earned badges. All of these activities teaching them some deeper lessons.
I wanted to learn the importance of sisterhood as well as leadership.
Girl Scout has really taught her long-lasting friendships.
What I've noticed with Girl Scouts is it allowed her to step out of her box.
And for the parents, maybe it's about stepping back and letting the girls shine.
As parents, we tend to overthink things and I don't want to say control things, but we think our children aren't ready for things. And when you just let them be and watch them in their environment, they'll amaze you at how quickly they grow and blossom into the person that you're trying to raise them to be.
That's Teri Hornstein with that story. Teri, thank you. Now, on to one of my favorite parts of each episode, the 3 best things I saw. Now, each episode, I picked 3 things that stuck out to me as inspirational or uplifting, and I love to share them with you. So first on my list for today are some of the cutest surfers I've ever seen. This is the World Dog Surfing Championships, where 4-legged friends hit the waves. The canine competitors earn points for the length of their rides, and they get bonuses for style.
The dogs are having a good time, and it's just a fun thing to do. So I think a lot of people just really enjoy watching it.
He is the smallest dog that surfs and the only miniature pinscher that surfs in the entire world.
And his glasses were so cute. It's all for a good cause too. Proceeds for the event go to nonprofits supporting dogs, also surfing, and environmental needs. Alrighty, next up, we've got a set of sisters proving that love is the best medicine. Meet Millie and Maverick. They're twins, born just 8 minutes apart, so they did everything together until earlier this year when Millie was diagnosed with leukemia. So that meant the treatment was 3 hours away. While they spent hours on FaceTime, the real thing was even better.
The second Maverick shows up, Millie is she's back to herself again. Yeah. Millie went about 4 months without walking. Her sister was the motivation to get her to walk again. Yep. And if she wouldn't have had her sister, I'm not sure she'd be walking.
Doesn't that video just warm your heart? Look at that hug. These sweet twins, they are proof that the people we love make us stronger. Now to my number 1 favorite thing I saw, a group of kids proving that you are never too young to make a difference. This group of boys, they were on their way back to Baltimore from camp when they noticed a tree blocking the road near Sibley Memorial Hospital and an ambulance stuck on the other side. Well, the boys jumped right in to help and they cleared the way for the ambulance to pass. It's stories like these that stick out to me, ones that make you stop and smile. And if you have a story like that, we'd love to hear about it. You can email us at getuplifted@wusa9.com. And you can reach out to me on X or Instagram, Facebook too. And if you want more, you can get your daily dose of Get Uplifted every morning in our 5 a.m. hour of WUSA 9 mornings. Thank you for tuning in. Stay uplifted.